तस्य अनञ्जनशलाकय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवम् श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नम ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome to the Manah Shiksha series every Friday, Saturday and Sunday morning. In the last week, we finished the discussion on verse 4 of the Manah Shiksha. Asat Cheshta Kashta Prada Vikata Pashalibiriha. No, sorry. Asad Varta Vaishya Vrishijmati Sarvasya Harani. Kata Muktim Vyagra Na Shunu Kila Sarvatma Glahani. Api Tektva Lakshmipati Rati Vyom Nayanim Vraje Radha Krishno Swarati Mani Do Tvam Vajamana. So the gross obstacles in the form of Asad Cheshta or Asad Varta, not Asad Cheshta again, Asad Varta, who is compared to a Vaishya, which steals away our spiritual intelligence, our inclination towards Krishna. And the Kata Mukti, which is a tigress Vyagra, don't hear because Sarvatmana Lahani, it completely devours the soul. And give up your attachment to Narayan. And Vraje Radha, here in Vraj, Radha Krishna are giving the crest jewel of Prema. So accept that, my mind. No, Bhajamana, Bhajamana. So that was text 4. And we saw a very interesting commentary by Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj also, how deeply we should try to apply these instructions. So today we will begin with text 5 of the Manashiksha is very, very important. It is speaking of now not only the gross obstacles were dealt in verse 4, sorry, but now the subtle obstacles, which in the form of lust, anger, greed, is what is Raghunath Das Goswami going to address in Manashiksha verse 5. So let us begin the verse 5 with the Bhajan Darpan commentary of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. I'll recite the verse. Again, it is the same in meter as the Jagannath Ashtakam. Asacheshta kashta prada vikat pashali biriha prakamyam kamadi prakat pata pati vetikare gale badvahane hamiti bakabid varpadmagane Kurutvam futkara navati sayatatvam mana ita. While here, iha, on the revealed path of devotion, prakata patapati, this devotional service path is revealed path. It's a path which is already illumined, like a street which is well lit. So on this revealed path of devotion, I have been attacked by the gang, Vetikare. And who are they? Of my own lust, etc. Prakamyam Kamadi, who have bound my neck, Gale Badva, with the troublesome, dreadful ropes of wicked deeds. Prakamyam Kamadi. And the dreadful deeds are in the form of Asat Cheshta. Here actually Asat Cheshta should come. It is the Asat Cheshta, the endeavor for doing activities controlled by lust or anger or greed. That is asat cheshta. I have been killed. Hannehamiti. I have been killed. Now, what you should do? Cry out piteously. Kurutvam futkaran. Like this to the devotees of Krishna, the destroyer of Baka. Baka bid vartamapa gane. O mind, they will save you from these enemies. Avati sa yata tvam mana ita. So, my dear mind, when you call out Futkaran, the devotees, they will save you from these 6 enemies. The 6 enemies are like the highway robbers who attack and take the wealth. Similarly, these 6 anarthas in the form of Kamadi are like highway robbers. And when they attack and tie the neck with the ropes of wicked desires, what we should do? We should cry out piteously, Kurutvam Futkaranam. So this is the deep-rooted problem of the anarthas which we face in the form of the 6 enemies. And if you see the solution given by Raghunath Das Goswami, it is very, very simple. What is the solution given by Raghunath Das Goswami? What is the solution? Raghunath Das Goswami is saying when the 6 enemies attack us internally, because they are there in our heart. So what is the solution he says? Yes, Rasparani Mataji?
Cry out to the devotees of Krishna. I mean, take the shelter of devotees.
Yeah. But what is our problem? This is the solution. What is the problem with us?
Our inability to actually, I mean, we be judgmental of the devotees, and at times we criticize the devotees, and that's why we are unable to take the shelter.
We don't have that nature to actually cry out to the devotees' help. We actually need help and we don't cry out. That's why Kurutvan Futkaranam. So this requires simplicity of heart to actually admit that I'm in crisis, I'm in trouble, I need the help of the devotees. And just like a child, moment he's in trouble, he'll cry out for the mother. But because we are grown up, this is our problem that we don't cry out. We have to cry out piteously to the devotees who are the destroyer of Baka, Bakabid Vartmapa Gani. And then they will save you from these enemies. So these powerful enemies, the simple solution is that we have to cry out for the devotees. So here graphically in the book it is mentioned they are the 6 highway robbers wait to attack people who travel on the shining path of bhakti. You can see the shining path of bhakti is there, and there are these 6 highway robbers. Who are they? Anger, envy, greed. So these are personalities. Please remember. Sometimes anger, lust, greed, these are very subtle anarthas which are there, and it is always good to personify them so that we can deal with them. They are not only desires in the form of desires in the subtle body, but they are also personalities. And here these personalities are there. Like in the Mahabharata, there is the Krodha Pishachi, the story of the Krodha Pishachi. So once Krishna and Arjuna and Sataki, they had gone to the forest just to wander and do trekking and hunting. And it was night and they were supposed to rest in the forest. So they decided that 2 hours each, one will guard and the remaining 2 can sleep. 2 hours duty. So it was first Sataki who was guarding, and both Krishna and Arjuna were sleeping. And Krodha Pishachi. Pishachi is it's a demoness. Krodha Pishacha, maybe it is a demon, I think, came and attacked Sataki. And it started laughing at Sataki. Sataki got very angry. How can he laugh at me? So the more Sataki got angry, the more this demon started, again laughing more and more. And Sataki was just killed because of that. And he was lying there, completely unconscious. So when Arjuna got up and it was his turn to guard, suddenly he saw that Sataki is dead. And he became very angry. Who has killed my friend Sataki? I'm not going to spare him. I'm going to kill him. And then again this Krodha Pishacha came and he started laughing at Arjuna, making fun of Arjuna. So Arjuna became more angry. And Arjuna started exhibiting his anger. And the Pishacha started laughing more and more, by which Arjuna also got killed. It was later Krishna, he got up because it was his turn to guard, and he saw that both Sataki and Arjuna were lying dead. Krishna was angry, but when this Pisachi came, he started laughing at Krishna. And what did Krishna do? Krishna did not get angry. Krishna also laughed. So the more this Pisachi laughed, Krishna also laughed more. And this demon became weaker and weaker and it died. And then later on, Krishna revived Arjuna and Sataki. So this graphical example of actually a demon, Pisacha, which is there in the Mahabharata, is told to teach us a lesson. What is the lesson? Anyone knows from the story? What is the lesson we learn? Anyone knows what is the lesson? What we narrated just now? Yes, Dr. Archana Mataji. Yes.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji Dandavat Pranam. We should not magnify the problem actually. We should face it, and howsoever the big problem is, we need to have a big solution.
No, but when the Pisach was laughing at them, they were also getting more and more angry, and by that they were getting destroyed.
So we don't have to react. We have to respond. We don't have to react. We have to respond.
Yeah, but okay. Let us see. Krishnapad Prabhuji, anything you want to add?
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, when Pishachi was laughing, actually the false ego was hurt very deeply. and it was increasing because of anger, and it was taking down the spiritual self, and thus
Yes, that's the point. So when this Pishach was laughing, both Satiki and Arjuna also became more and more angry. So by becoming more angry, you feel sometimes there is energy, but actually it drains your energy and consciousness and pulls you down. So they got killed like that. So similarly, when somebody gets angry on us, if we get angry, we feel that, I can with my anger, subdue him. And that anger is a very powerful energy. But what it does, it drains our consciousness. It brings the soul down. It degrades the consciousness. So this is how anger is. This is how lust is. When you enjoy, it degrades our consciousness. So this is the lesson which we should learn from the Mahabharata. It is said that once, if you get angry even for a moment, it is equal to 6 kilometers of jogging, the energy spent. That is the kind of energy anger has. It's a negative energy. So that is why here these personifications are there of all these 6 enemies: illusion, lust, and madness. Mother madness it is. So what these 6 enemies do, these 6 enemies capture devotees by putting nooses around their necks. So the devotees are walking on the path, and these 6 enemies come and capture them. Then what the devotee should do, as this verse says, Kurutvam Futkaran, call for the help of the servants of Krishna, killer of Baka. We should not call out Krishna. Please remember here. Bakabid is a killer of Baka, that is Krishna. Vartmapa Gana. Vartmapa means those who are followers of the killer of Baka, that is the devotees. They are the devotees. So we have to call out the servants of Krishna, killer of Baka. The servants of Baka's killers, Krishna can free us from the rope of wicked desires. So they will free us from this rope of wicked desires. So this is graphically explained. So let's go to the commentary of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, which is quite simple. And but when we go to the Acharya's commentaries, we'll find that it is more relevant to us in today's context, in today's world also. Bhaktivinoda Thakur keeps it very, very simple. Yes, Mataji, you have a question?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Previously you had said that we have to personify the Shadripus. So what do you mean by this?
Yes, very important point. Very good question. I mentioned, as I was narrating about these 6 enemies, that when these anarthas, which are form of the desires, subtle desires, which are kama, we need to personify them. And these are personalities. We have to deal with them as personalities. Just like, I'll give you an example. You're driving a car in the deep jungle, and suddenly you see that there is a person, very dark person, very ugly person, and he stops the car and he wants a lift. So you somehow take him next to you. He's sitting next to you, and you are driving from the jungle to go to the temple somewhere, and he's sitting now next to you, and he whispers in your ear that, let's go. There is a hotel there. There's a liquor shop there. You can go and enjoy there. Come. So you will, evaluate that, proposal, what that person is giving, and carefully deal with that. So similarly, we are always riding with the soul. Our next immediate neighbor who is sitting next to us is the mind. And the mind has these 6 desires. The Shadripus are there. So these, desires come in the mind. Okay, let's do this. So just like in the car, this stranger who's sitting next to us, when he gives a proposal, we'll evaluate. So we need to personify the mind. Oh, this is whether the desire which is harmonious with the soul, with my bhakti principles, or is it my mind speaking? So that time we need to personify the mind and deal with him like a separate person. He's not my friend, he's my enemy. This proposal, what is giving. So like that, by dealing with him like this, we can, we are always on the driver's seat. We have to remember that. The soul as a passenger in this body is always on the driver's. The mind can uh, impel us to do certain things, but it cannot compel. It cannot take the driver's seat at all. It is always in the pillion next seat, So that's why by personifying these personalities, sometimes it helps us in dealing with the mind. So that's the reason I mentioned that we need to personify them. I hope it is clear. Yes, Mataji, is clear?
Yes, Prabhuji, absolutely.
Yes, let's come to Bhaktivinoda Thakur's commentary. Now, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, each of the lines he explains. Kamadi prakatapata pati vyatikare. Lust, etc. The gang of plunderers on the open road. Lust, anger, greed, illusion, false pride, and envy are plunderers on the open road of one's spiritual path. Sorry, one's spiritual life. These 6 muggers attack their victims forcefully upon meeting together. Bhaktivinoda Thakur quotes the whole phenomena, how it happens. He quotes, in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, a clear explanation is given on this subject matter. Dhyayato vishayan pumsa sangaste shupajayate sangat sanjayate kama kamat krodha vijayate krodhat bhavati sammoha sammohat smriti vibrama smriti bramshat buddhinasha buddhinashat pranashati. While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment. Dhyayato vishayan pumsan sangastesh pajayate. Attachment for them, and from such attachment, lust develops. Sangat sanjayate kama, and from lust, anger arises. Kamat krodha bijayate. From anger, complete delusion arises. Krodhat bhavati sammoha. Kama, krodha, moha. From delusion, bewilderment of memory, smriti bramshat. When the memory is bewildered, intelligence learns. Buddhinash. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again in the material pool. Buddhinashat pranashati. So this is the translation from Prabhupada's purport. Now, Baldev Vidyabhushan's commentary to this is what is narrated by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So I will just go through the narration of Baldev Vidyabhushan's commentary on this verse. It's a very simple commentary, but very, very relevant and very interesting. We will not go into the in-depth analysis of this verse. That we will do when we study the contemporary Acharya's commentary. That time we will go. We will just hear what Baldev Vidyabhushan has to say on this verse. Okay, let's take the commentary on Baldev Vidyabhushan, which Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given here. Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan has explained the meaning of the word, meaning of these 2 verses. Vijayatindriya syapi maya niveshita mana punar anarto durva raitya adyatah itva bayam. Oh, there is, they have cut properly. Sorry, it is not properly done. But anyway, I'll read it from here. Even for those persons who have conquered their senses, Vijayatindriya asya api. if their mind is not fixed on me, maya aniveshita mana, if the mind is not fixed on me, the jnanis and yogis might have conquered the senses, but if their mind is not engaged in Krishna, what happens? Then the mind again becomes unfavorable and irrepressible. Puna anartho durva. And the Lord says in these two verses, iti dvayabhyam. So in the two verses, the Lord is, speaking of the consequences of those who control the senses, but yet not engage the mind in thinking about Krishna. Vishayan shabdadin sukhahetatva buddhya dhyayata punash chintayato yoginas teshu sanga asaktir bhavati. The Lord continues to say, when the sense objects such as sound, Vishayan Shabdadin means beginning with sound, touch, etc., are meditated upon in order to attain gratification. Sukha hetava buddhya dhyayata. So why do we meditate on them? Because we want sense gratification. Sukha hetatva. Then the yogi who thinks repeatedly, punash chintayato, yogi, about them develops a strong attachment to such sense objects. Teshu sanga asaktir bhavati. He develops attachment to them. So it's what, please understand the whole phenomena here. First is meditation on the sense objects with the desire for sukhahetatva. And then you start puna chintayato. Again and again you think about it. So it's not just, just one phenomena once it happens. No, when the mind repeatedly is contemplating about it, then there is asakti. Sangat dhetu steshu kama trishna jayate. Due to such association with sense objects, a strong desire for those objects is born in the yogi's mind. Kama trishna. Kama trishna means the desire. Jayate. Jayate means it is born. Kamacha kenachit prati hattat krodaschitta jwalas tat prati ghatako bhavati. If somehow the yogi is able to check the fulfillment of such strong desires, please note here very carefully. If somehow the yogi is able to check the fulfillment of such strong desires, then the result is the generation of anger due to dissatisfaction, which burns the heart. Jwalas, chitta jwala, chitta, the chitta is burning now, thereby disturbing the yogi. Ghatako bhavati, tat prati ghataka. So, because of contemplation, there is a strong now, attachment. That attachment has turned into desire, and he is now trying to check that desire. The moment you try to check that desire, there is anger burning in the heart of the yogi. Krodhat sammoha karya viveka jnana vilopa. From such disturbing anger comes bewilderment. So when a person becomes angry, he loses his discrimination, viveka. That is what anger does, and that's why anger has to be always controlled. Anger can be used in Krishna's service, but even that can be very destructive. And the extreme example in the Bhagavatam is of Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj, within 6 months of meditation, had attained the Lord. And when he went back to his kingdom and he was ruling, his brother was killed, Uttama, by the Yakshas. And then Dhruva went with his army and he started killing all the Yakshas ruthlessly out of anger. And imagine someone who had had the darshan of the Lord, someone who had attained the Lord, he came under the spell of anger and was completely devastating the entire Yaksha army. It was only one Yaksha who had killed his brother, but now that anger, in that fit of anger, he was completely destroying the entire Yaksha race itself. And then it was Manu who came, and he instructed him there. So that is what sammoha, that kind of bewilderment, that you lose your viveka, which is nothing but a loss of discrimination about what should be done and what should be avoided. The discrimination, the intelligence has these two divisions. One is to discriminate, another aspect is determination, the determination to do as per what is right. But when they lose the discrimination part only, then the determination is also lost. Sammohat smritir indriya vijayadi prayatnanu sandir vibhramo vibhramshah smriti bramshat buddhir atma jnanartha kasyadhi avasyasya nasha. Due to the loss of discriminative power of the intelligence, the efforts of conquering over the senses, indriya vijayadi prayatnanu sandeh, conquering the senses starts faltering because the determination is lost. And by such forgetfulness, vibhramo, vibhramsha, the enthusiasm of the intelligence to gain knowledge of the self is lost. Buddhir atma jnanartha kasya hi avasyasya nasha. The intelligence to gain the knowledge of the self, that is lost. Buddhi nashat pranashyati punar vishaya bhoga nimagno bhavati samsarati ityartha. By such loss of intelligence, the yogi falls down. Madan ashrayanad durbalam manastani swavishayar yojayat iti bhava. In other words, such a yogi again becomes absorbed in sense enjoyment and wanders in such enjoyment. The gist is that the weak mind, Manah, having taken shelter of lust god, Madan Ashrayat, engages such yogi in the service of its own objects. So our mind, is like God. It has like God-like powers. And the mind, now we become the servant of the mind, and the mind wants to engage in sense objects. So it engages in its own service instead of the mind engaging in Krishna's service. Tata cha mano vijik suna mad upasanam vidheyam. So now the Lord says, the Lord is, instructing here to Arjuna, therefore my worship is prescribed for those who wish to fully conquer the mind. So this is the Gita Bhushan. Gita Bhushan is the commentary of Baldev Vidya Bhushan on the Bhagavad Gita. So this is the flow in the whole series. So here it is graphically picturized. Contemplation of sense objects. There's contemplation first, leads to attachment to the sense objects. When we movement see the sense object, we want to, we develop attachment. We want to, with the sense of touch. So there is, there is a desire for that. And then there is anger, bewilderment of memory, loss of intelligence, and material bondage. Here you can see the material bondage. So that is how the phenomena is. Of course, we'll study this phenomena when we study the contemporary Acharya's explanation more in detail that time. But I will stick to the Bhaktivinoda Thakur's commentary only right now. Okay, now the second part of the explanation. Asat cheshta kashta prada vikata pasha. The troublesome, dreadful ropes of wicked deeds, the 6 enemies, lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, and envy, have been previously explained. So this has been previously explained. They create wicked deeds that are like ropes that ties up the neck of the living being and which causes pain and fear. So these 6 enemies, they create wicked deeds, and these wicked deeds are compared to ropes which tie the neck, and they cause, somebody is tied by the neck, he feels a lot of pain and fear of death, right? Gale badwa. So that is the asat cheshta. Now when this happens, what is to be done? Now what are these ropes? The ropes are the wicked deeds. So this is how it is graphically explained. And these ropes are made of wicked deeds, and the teachings of the great devotees free us from the ropes of wicked deeds. So these teachings of the acharyas will break these ropes. Now that solution is given by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Bakabid Vartpampa Gane. Protectors of the path leading to the killer of Baka demon. Bakabid refers to Sri Krishna, the killer of Baka demon. The demon Baka crane is the embodiment of duplicitous hypocrisy. So Baka represents duplicity, hypocrisy. Shri Krishna killed Baka by splitting his beak into 2 pieces. That's pastime, Vartma indicates following the devotional path, which brings about cultivation of love for Krishna. The suffix pa, now Vartma, pa is there, refers to the Vaishnavas, the devotees of Krishna, who are the protectors and guardians of that devotional path. The conclusion is that one should cry desperately to the Vaishnavas for protection from all unwanted enemies such as lust, anger, greed, and all other anarthas. The merciful Vaishnavas will definitely provide protection upon hearing a living being rise. So, what is the solution? The solution, you have to cry out desperately. And when we cry out sincerely and desperately, what will happen? The Vaishnavas, merciful Vaishnavas, will come and protect. There is no doubt. Krishna will send someone. There is no doubt about it. There are n number of examples. I personally myself have seen, in my own life and in other devotees' life, that these are great, powerful enemies which are all devouring. Kamaesha, Krodesha, Rajaguna Samudva, Mahapapmu. These are great, it's a great enemy of the soul. And it is all devouring. But when we cry out desperately, then these Vaishnavas who are guarding the path of devotion, they will come to our help. Now, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, further in the commentary, gives example of how the devotee should pray, and he's quoting this from all Padyavali. Prahlada Narada Parashara Pundrika Vyasam Vrishasuka Shaunaka Bhishma Dalvyan Rukmangada Uddhava Vibhishana Fal Punadin Punyani Man Parama Bhagavata Namani. To the saintly devotees of the Lord, headed by Prahlad, Narad, Parashar, Pundrik, Vyas, Amrish, Sukha, Shaunaka, Bhishma, Dalvya, Rukmadangada, Uddhava, Vibhishan, and Arjuna, I offer my respectful obeisances. So here, this prayer is to the great devotees. We should also read prayers of Prahlad Maharaj in the 5th canto. How these he's praying to Hiranyakashipu. There is a famous verses, the 5 verses, that how these the Narasimha prayers are there. So there, that kind of prayers also we can recite. So it's like calling out Prahlad Maharaj. Then the next verse is quoted by Sarvagya. Sarvagya prays. Tvad bhakta saritam patim chulukvat khadayotavat bhaskaram merum pashyati lostravat kim aparam bhume patim bhratavat चिन्तारत्तचयं शीलाशकलवत् कल्पद्रुमं कष्टवत् संसारं तृण राशिवत् किम् अपरं देहं निजं भारवत्. O Lord, your devotees see the king of rivers as a handful of water. Tvad bhakta saritam patim chuluka. Chuluka means very handful. The sun, a firefly. Khadayato vad bhaskaram. Bhaskar is the sun, and they see it as what? Firefly. Mount Meru as a lamp of earth. Pashyati, Merum Pashyati Lostravat. The emperor of the world, a servant. Aparam Bhumopatim Bhratyavat. A multitude of Chintamani jewels, simply pebbles. Chinta Ratnam Chayam Sheela Sakalavat. A valuable Kalpa Vriksha tree, a mere stick. Kalpa Drumam Kashtavat. The entire world a bunch of straw. Samsaram Trinarashivat. And his own body a burden only. Aparam Deham Nijam Bharavat. So this is the mood of the devotee, that nothing in this world is attractive to him. Nothing in this world as much as the Lord and his pure devotees. Now he quotes another verse. Madhav Saraswati describes. So all these verses which Bhaktivinoda Thakur is quoting is also a guideline that we should also recite this verse and try to go into this mood, what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying. Mimamsa rajasa malimasa drisham tavanna dhira ishvare karvodarka ukarkasha diyam durepi varta hare janantopi na janate shrutimukam shrirangi sangatrite suswadun pariveshayantyah apirasam purvi nadharvi sprashet. Those whose eyes are blinded by the dust of karma mimamsa philosophy, mimamsa cannot fix their hearts on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Dhira Ishware, na dhira Ishware. Those whose intelligence is atrophied by illogical conclusions dictated by pride stay away from the topics of Hari. The kukarkas are the illogicians, and atrophied is a state in the medical condition where some function of the body has been working, but because of an accident and being lying down in the bed for a long time, it doesn't function. And after you get over also, still it cannot function. So that is atrophied. So because of illogical conclusions, you don't, the soul is by nature active in devotional service. So you become inactive and don't, you just meditate on Aham Brahmasmi. So they are like atrophied condition. So they are dictated by pride and they stay away from the topics of Hari. Those who seem to understand the Vedas but cannot become devotees of Lord Krishna, Janantopi na jayate shruti mukham, do not actually understand the Vedas. They don't understand the true purport of the Vedas. They are like large ladles that distribute the sweetest nectar but cannot taste it themselves. So this is condemning, the path of karma mimamsa, who cannot fix their heart on the Lord, condemning the jnana path. Because of pride, they cannot hear the Hari Katha, and the karma kandis, who study the Vedas, but they cannot understand the goal of the Vedas as Krishna. It's like they are distributing nectar, but they cannot taste themselves. So this is here the picture how these non-devotee scholars who study the scriptures are like ornates serving spoons that distribute the sweetest nectar but cannot taste it themselves. Now in the last verse, Bhaktivinoda Thakur quotes, the glories of devotees association is explained when Hiranyakashipu speaks to Prahlad about the importance of association in general. This is Prahlad instructing, Hiranyakashipu instructing Prahlad. Yasyat sangita pumso manivatsat tadguna swakula ridyaye tato dhiman swayuthan eva samshayat. Just as a transparent crystal takes on the colors of the nearby objects, the association of the persons determines one's qualities. Therefore, the intelligent take the shelter of like-minded, similarly practicing groups for the sake of bringing auspiciousness and prosperity to their group. This is from the Hari Bhakti Suhodaya, quoted in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Actually, Hiranyakashipu is instructing that you take my association of asuras so that you can become asura. But this is also applicable spiritually. If you take association of devotees, then you will also get devotional qualities. So here in the explanation, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, the essence is that impurities of the heart cannot be obliterated with yoga or sacrifices. So that he quoted these verses. These verses what he quoted na, for the Gyanis and the Yogis. He quoted these verses. So this is the conclusion. Through the association of Vaishnavas who are free from envy, gradually those impurities will be removed. The impurities will be removed. So this is a very brief and short commentary by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Before we go into the Manah Shiksha Bhasha, any questions? So here in the last slide, association with great devotees makes our heart like crystal gem reflect their qualities, as Hiranyakashipu is saying. So most important is association with Vaishnavas who are free from envy. And this is also Rupa Goswami instructing in the Updeshamrit. Which verse in the Updeshamrit Rupa Goswami instructs this? Anyone knows? Which verse in the Updeshamrit does Rupa Goswami instruct to associate with pure devotees who are free from envy? Anyone remembers which verse it is? I thought all devotees are very thorough with Updeshamrit and they've studied. Which verse of the Updeshamrit mentions association of devotees who are free from envy? That is the kind of association we should have. Krishnapad Prabhuji.
My signal is getting lost because I am driving. What was the question?
Which is the verse in Updeshamrit which instructs to associate with pure devotees who are free from envy? Tirthpad Prabhuji.
Not sure, Prabhuji.
Tirthpad Prabhuji, which verse?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandat Pranam Prabhu. Just now not remembering which verse number, but I think fourth Prabhu.
Is fifth. Krishneti yasya giritam manasadriyeta dikshasti chet pranatibishcha bhajantam isham shushushaya bhajana vigyananyanya nindadi shunya hridaya ipsita sangalabdabaya. Ipsita. We should desire to associate with one whose heart is free from envy. Shunya. These are the pure devotees. So this is also what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is suggesting here. Through the association of a Vaishnava free from envy, gradually those impurities will be removed. So this is how we should desire this association. And association is not just mere physical association. It can be association by contemplating on the qualities of the pure devotees, by hearing their lectures, by following their instructions, we are associating with them. So that's how we should take this instruction very, very seriously. Okay. Any questions or clarifications up till now? Yes, Dr. Archana Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, you have mentioned that we have to save ourselves from the hypocrisy. So many a times we also do fall prey to Hippocratic condition or a people either at home or in the society. So will the four regulative principle association of Vaishnavas and chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra minimum 16 times will save us from this tendencies?
This tendency of duplicity or hypocrisy?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Yes. Why does Bakasura represent hypocrisy is because Baka, the crane, sometimes seems to be uh, sitting in the river on one leg and deeply absorbed in meditation. And you might think that he's meditating, but he's meditating on the sense objects, the fish, and he'll catch the fish and eat it. So that is the personified form of the crane, in the form of hypocrisy. It seems to be meditating, but it is meditating on sense objects. Similarly, um, this hypocrisy is there, or duplicity is there within. And that is why Krishna, just like, exposed this demon by killing this demon, by breaking its beak, splitting it into two. Similarly, inside within us, these wicked desires are there, which, prompt us, oh, do this, do this. These mind's voice speaks to us, which are like asacheshta, kashta brother, pashali veer, they do that. And that's why moment you recognize it, you should cry out. Cry out to the devotees who will save us from this desire. So that's how it is being personified and understood. So more on this will come up in the Acharya's commentaries when we study on the contemporary Acharyas, where how to apply these teachings more. That will come up, and that time we'll elaborate more on this. I'll just finish the Manah Shiksha Bhasha, which is very short and very simple. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur has composed the same teaching in the form of a song. Kama Krodha Lobha Moha Mada Matsya Rata Saha Jivera Jivana Pate Hosi. Desire, anger, greed, bewilderment, intoxication, and pride are 6 enemies that wait on the path of the soul's journey of life. Jivera Jivana Pate Hosi. They are sitting. The 6 enemies are always with us. असचेष्टा रजो फांसे पाति करे धर्म नाशे प्राणालय करे kasa kashi. They have lassos. I don't know what this is really by a kind information. Let me figure it out later on. Which pull the soul so he slips from righteousness, dharma, and performs unscrupulous activities. These enemies pull tightly to drag away one's life. They pull them away. Now, having explained that, what does Bhaktivinoda Thakur instruct? Mana tumi dhara vyakya mora ऐसब भात पाड़ अतिशय दुर्निर्वार एखान गेरिया करे झोर. O heart, Mana, please seriously consider my words. Tumi dhara vakya mora. These highway robbers are incredibly difficult to resist. Ei sab bhatapad atishay durnirvar. They are very difficult to resist. Thus, whenever they surround and attack you, ekhana gheriya kare jhor. When they surround and attack you, what we should do? Har kichu na kariya Vaishnaver namaloy. Ukarya Dake Ucharaya. Do nothing else but utter the name of the Vaishnavas on the top of your voice. Dako Ucharya. Just take the names of the Vaishnavas. Then the soldiers of Krishna, the slayer of Bakasur, Baka Shatru Sena Gane, Kripa Kari Jane, they will save you from this. Yatyake Kare Uddhara Tomaya. The devotees of Lord Krishna will come and save you from these enemies. Vatapad Chaya Jan Asate Cheshtara Jugana Diya Gele Karila Bandhana. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, these 6 horrible enemies have tied me up and tightened the noose of unscrupulous activities around my neck. Prana Vayugata Praya Rupa Raghunataya Kara Bhakti Vinoda Rakshaneya. My life breath has almost left me. Prana Vayugata Praya. O Rup Raghunath, please protect me. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is crying out to Rupa and Raghunath to protect him. Okay. Lassos, a long rope tied in a circle and on one end for catching the horses. Okay. For catching cows. Okay. This is a lasso. I did not know that. So it's a long rope, but with a circle so that they can catch, and tie you. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his bhajan makes entirely the verse very clear. Very, very simple instruction, but very, very difficult to follow. What is the most difficult thing to do? Very, very difficult problems in life. The 6 enemies. Very, very simple solution. But what is the difficulty with us? Anyone? What is the difficulty with us? Yes, Dr. Archana Mataji.
Prabhuji, we don't think simple things. We have to think something very complicated.
We are quite complicated. We don't find that simple solution quite easy. Okay. Sunita Mataji, yes. What is the
Hare Krishna.
difficulty?
Actually, the solutions are simple, but they are very difficult to follow.
Why there is difficulty to follow? It's so simple. You have to just cry out to the Vaishnavas. Just take the names of the Vaishnavas and cry out for help and they will come. Yes, Renuka Mataji. Rasparani Mataji.
Prabhuji, the false ego, the anger, the enemies which have attacked us, they are not allowing us to take the shelter of the devotees, and that's why it's difficult to take cry out the names of
No, the enemies are not. It's not that the enemies are not allowing us to take shelter. No, that's not the real problem. The real problem is little something else also. Krishna Path Prabhuji. Yes.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, we don't have trust in Vaishnavas and that relationship with which
Yes,
we can actually approach them.
Yes, most important is that we don't have deep faith that just by calling out the Vaishnavas will protect me. Vaishnavas are my shelter. We don't take shelter of the Vaishnavas, and we genuinely don't consider that we are in problem and we need to cry out because of pride, because of false ego. That genuine cry doesn't come out. If we genuinely cry, then Krishna will hear that cry and he will send the Vaishnavas. The problem is that we are not ready to cry out. Kurutvam futkaran. That is the difficulty actually. The solution is very, very simple. Problem is very deep rooted, but solution is kurutvam futkaranam. This is what we need to do. If we just do this, then our problem is taken care. Such, serious problems in life, 6 enemies attack. but we have to do Kurutvam Futkaranam. So this is what we need to do. We should have that simple heart by which we can cry out. I heard of Yamuna Mataji, proper disciple. She was detected cancer and she had come to India for treatment. She landed in the airport and the hospital vehicle, the Bhaktivedanta hospital vehicle was sent to bring her. But somehow it got stuck and there was some miscommunication. And she came out and nobody was there and she just cried out in the airport. Devotees, where are you all? Where are you all? And suddenly some devotee came there and picked Mataji and took her to the hospital. Gurutvam Futkarana. This is what we need to do. Cry out helplessly for the devotees for help, and they will save you from this enemies. So that's the solution. So in the next class, we will see His Holiness Shivram Swami Maharaj commentary, which will take one class. And we'll have to spend at least 3 classes on Bhakti Vigyan Goswami's commentary, which is a little elaborate and very, very interesting analysis and explanations there. So that we will start from tomorrow. Okay, so we will stop here. Any questions and clarifications? Anyone else? Any comments? It's quite a simple commentary, not anything much to be discussed. Bhaktivinoda Thakur keeps it very simple. So, anyone has any clarifications? Any questions? Okay, so we'll stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami ki jai, Sri Manah Shiksha ki jai. Hare Krishna.